Welcome. This is COM S356F, Software Engineering and Project Management. What is software engineering? This is what this course will talk about. But it's more than just writing programs. In other courses, you have learned to write a program all by yourself. But some software are big and complex that requires several people to work together, and sometimes even dozens or hundreds of people. So how to make them work together, coordinate well? This is the main focus of our course. I'm Oliver Au. This photo was taken in a recent trip to Beijing. Of course, you probably recognize the Great Wall. This is the Mu Tianyu Great Wall. And I studied in my bachelor and master in Canada and my PhD in England. And I've spent roughly half of my life thus far in the West. So in a way, my thinking is very Western. I enjoy software engineering and education research. I enjoy all kinds of music, including Indian music. Of course, opera too, and classical music. And I also enjoy all kinds of sports. I'm the team captain of the engineering IET, the engineering society based in England. I'm the captain of the Dragon Boat team, and if you want to do Dragon Boat, or if you want to do weightlifting or running, we can talk, of course, after class. And this is my phone number, my email. You can always reach me. Right now, Raymond and I do not set a fixed office hour that limits students to contact us during that time. So you can come to the 9th floor of Block A to find us. Okay, if you need to talk to us. And Raymond, a very friendly guy, he graduated from excuse me, he graduated from OpenU and went on to complete a master at PolyU, and he had good experience, including as a project manager. So we're very happy to have him as our course tutor. And so by all means, so how do we split our effort? I am responsible for the lecture, and Raymond is responsible for the tutorials. I hope that this course will bring you a new learning experience. For one thing, it's quite different from other computing courses and engineering courses that you have done so far. We require you to read more and to write more. Okay, yeah, you understand why. But in a nutshell, how to make a team of people work together? They have to communicate, and perhaps in Chinese or in English. So this course requires you to communicate well with your teammates. And that's why writing, since English is the medium of instruction in all the universities in Hong Kong, so you need to read and write English. We learn with an approach called flipped classroom. Flipped. Okay, what it means is I do not lecture to you as in a conventional lecture. I would record some mini lecture recording, and I send you links so that you can click on it and listen from YouTube. And those, I would divide a week of lecture into small chunks, maybe around 15 minutes. So you can listen to it one each day while riding on a bus or while in an MTR train. Okay, and I may assign weekly reading and for you to do. If you want to have a chance at a good grade like A or B, then you should do the reading. If you just want a bare pass, a C in this course, then maybe you don't have to do the reading. But of course, there's a risk too in case you just cannot uh, get reach your goal of getting a pass. If you did bad, then and if you don't do the reading, then maybe you fail. Before class, I require you to do work. Okay, so that is one characteristic of flipped classroom. We'll talk more about that later. And during the lecture, I will randomly select it. I will randomly select student answers, and then I discuss uh, to the whole class how, like, whether the answer is good, and if it's not, what can be improved. So by that discussion in class, hopefully you will learn the materials better and also be able to answer exam questions better. Assessment. Um, well, you weekly you'll be required to do exercise. Sometimes it's online exercise. Sometimes, like this week, you will just be required to com- finish a file and send it to to us. Okay, so but every week you need to do some exercise, and you need to complete it and submit it before 9 a.m. on the day that we have the lecture class. Okay? And if there's a holiday, then we usually would skip the weekly exercise. Okay? The reason for requiring you to submit that before 9 a.m. is that I would look at some of your answers and then select from it for discussion in class. So that's why I need a few hours to look at your work. So make sure you submit it every week. So and you have a group projects. You deliver 2 releases, and this is the tentative date, January 23rd and April 24th. And if necessary, we may make special arrangements to change the date, but usually we would do that in that week and during your tutorial time. Okay, so you would present your group project. We'll give you more information later. And this is the exam period, so do not plan any trip, any vacation during this this period. These first 3 items, we call it at OU, OCAS. CA stands for continuous assessment. That means that is your term score. Okay, so either you get 30% out of 100 or 9 out of 30. Uh, if, if you get lower than that, okay, if you get lower than that, you'll fail this course, even you get a perfect exam score. Okay, so that's the regulation, the new regulation. And if your term score is only 31 to 39, even you can get a perfect exam score, you can only get a grade C. So these 2 regulations suggest that you should try to aim for at least 40% from your term score. Okay, otherwise you may fail the course or just get a very low passing grade, even with a very high final exam score. That is a new regulation this year, so you need to be aware of that. We have a textbook for this course. It's called Object-Oriented Software Engineering and Agile Unified Methodology. We'll explain later what agile means, but in English it means very quick, you respond things quickly. The book costs roughly around $300. We are quite fortunate that the book was actually quite expensive on Amazon, but we have an international edition in Hong Kong that's much cheaper at around $300. Is it expensive? Well, maybe, but comparing to the tuition fee, it's actually very little. And if you don't have a book to help you, if you waste a lot of time to study, find all over the places from internet, you probably can find the same information, but you spend more time to get the same result. So, and finally, I like to draw an analogy of buying clothes. Suppose you buy a very cheap T-shirt for $20, but because it's very bad quality, you never wear it, then even $20 is expensive because you never use it. But if you spend $100 to buy a T-shirt and you wear it 100 times, 200 times, 300 times, then even at $100, that is actually a cheaper T-shirt than the $20 one, because the $20 one you never wear it. Same with textbook. If you buy it and if you read it, then that is good value. If you never read it, even if it's a $5 book, it's expensive. Also, many courses, many other textbook, the technology changes very quickly. So very quickly it becomes out of date. But software engineering knowledge is relatively stable. It doesn't change every year. Okay, so a same textbook, you probably can be useful to you for 10 years, because software engineering is not just about technology, it's also about people too, how people work together. So how the way people work together does not change every day, every year. Okay, so that's why it has more long-lasting value, and people like to ask questions about software engineering in job interviews. So it will be useful to you even after you graduate, at least in the first 2-3 years. And reading more can improve your English. So if you don't read English, then you don't know how to write English. And even if you know some of the stuff, you will not be able to express yourself in an exam. So that will be to your disadvantage. So I encourage you to read more. And of course, because there's only limited time that I can record lectures for you to listen, not everything useful can be covered in this lecture recording. Okay, so it's best for you to be able to learn from the textbook as well. And in fact, I may even use some contents of the textbook, not necessarily cover in the greatest detail in the lecture. I can ask you in the exam too. Of course, I usually would give you some reading assignment. So I encourage you to buy the textbook, even if it is about $300. A group project is a very key part. As you saw on the previous slide, it makes up 20 marks. Every year, students would complain, some students at least, would complain that you spend a lot of time to work on your project. It only gives you 20 marks. But let me emphasize that doing group project, you learn how to develop software in a team. So it is the learning outcome that we care about. Okay, so we even if it doesn't reflect in the 20 marks allocated to it. Each team has 5 to 6 person, and your software product will run uh, on a desktop computer, on an Android phone, iPhone, or a combination of them. Choosing topic, a good topic is important. Some of you may also want to choose interesting topic that you can use to enter some competition. Every year there are competitions around that you can enter, and if you can get some recognition to it, it sometimes you may earn a prize, and also it will make your CV, your resume look very good for you to find a job. And sometimes you may even be able to turn your project idea into a startup business. Okay, so, and of course, you can do something very meaningful with your project. Uh, for example, you can design something to help handicapped people, okay, or some poor people. So that uh, choose a topic that interests you, and your project topic and your team membership must be approved by Raymond. Okay, so that is the key thing. Uh, One thing you can use with your project is that if you enter a competition and get some recognition, you may use that recognition to help you to apply for scholarship in year 4. I've had one student who got some scholarship for, I think, for $40,000 for 1 year. So, of course, that is the biggest one I know. Sometimes some other scholarship may be just worth $2,000, $3,000. So, but that is one objective. I mean, one reason to enter competition. Choosing a good topic is the first important step for a successful project. These 5 steps you can consider using. Of course, that's not the only way to do things, but you can consider it. Think of a project idea. Do some research on the internet to see if something already exists similar to your project idea, and then you can imagine what additional advantage, what additional feature you can add to your product to make it differentiate from existing project, so that it make your product somewhat unique. Of course, it's not always easy because existing products may already be very good. So perhaps you can um, focus a little bit by identifying a smaller group of target users. Okay? Um, for example, um, there are different ways to focus um, your thing. For example, maybe there are already some very successful uh, e-commerce platform out there. Okay, so people can uh, set up a store on the e-commerce website and something like that. Okay, and then sell things there. There may be very successful product existing. So, but you also want to do an e-commerce website. So how can you compete with an existing one? So maybe you can narrow your focus a little bit. For example, you may think of a very specific kind of product. Maybe if you're interested in dragon boat, then maybe you can set up a dragon boat website for selling dragon boat related products, and then maybe you can create a community of for the dragon boat athletes, and you can also earn good money from your advertisement too, because other big uh, e-commerce website, they have all kinds of different users, but your people are your users may be athletes, so maybe there's some specific product that you can uh, show their advertisement commercial, and to earn commercial money and target those commercial to people who are likely to use the service or buy. Okay? So these steps you would repeat it until you get a good project topic. Building a team. You want to find team members that are hardworking, and you also want to find members to have complementary skills. That means some people may be good at doing research of what products exist. Some people may be good at designing UI. Some people may be good at writing documents to submit your work for this course. Some people, of course, will have to do the programming. So you can have different team members good at different skills. Then that way, perhaps you'll have a very good team. If all team members can only do programming, but none of them can design a good UI, then you'll be wasting your programming skills. And finally, for this part, you need to prepare what you need to prepare before the first class on September 5th, Monday. Okay. You will create a Word document of 1 to 2 pages long. You name it week 1, followed by a hyphen and your student ID. And you email it to this account, okay, with the subject week 1 lecture exercise, okay, before 9 a.m. And the file should contain the following contents: your name, your strengths and weaknesses relating to this course. For example, the skills that I mentioned right here. Okay, maybe you can mention that I'm a good leader. I can be a good manager. That could be your strength, or maybe that I'm not a good manager. So maybe that's your weakness. Then maybe you will help someone. Uh, you just follow order from your manager. And then you identified a project topic that you want to do with justification. The word justification appears lots of time in a question. Okay, it means you need to explain why. Okay, so don't just say I choose this topic. You also want to say why you choose that topic. It could be technical reason. It could be your personal interest. I just like it. Like for example, maybe a girl may want to do a cosmetic application. Maybe she like to put on makeup and things like that. So that is her personal passion. So that sometimes can be a justification, or another justification is you see a need in the market not being met. For example, maybe you want to, uh, uh, let's say, but it's not true anymore, but at least my colleague, Stephen Choi, some years ago, he saw a need of some school information website. So he created a very successful website called Schoolland. Okay? So he saw a need not being met at that time, so he created a very successful business, a website from it. So you can do the same too. And you try to find if you have some competing products that may be competing with you. You can describe it or uh, provide link to it, and you can also describe what kind of users you are. Like if you are writing a school information website, then your users will be parents, right? So, so you may, if you're writing games, then maybe your users are young people or school kids. If you're writing a game for primary school student, then that are your target users. So capture this information in 1 to 2 pages before class, okay? Because uh, in in the tutorial you are going to use this to form your team, okay? So in the tutorial you will try to find people with similar or comparable project idea, or friends or classmates that have complementary skills, okay? So maybe, so that for example a person with good UI design ability can be matched with someone with good programming, so you can have a team have that write good programs but the UI are not ugly, okay? So you can have, so this information you'll use it in the first tutorial, but you need to submit it Monday, and I'll discuss your answers um, in class. So that's it for this part. So start working on this document right away. Thank you.